Alright, we're back with another D&D movie time, and tonight we're watching a special request from Cora.
What?
Something she's been requesting for a while now.
Yeah?
And she has completely forgotten about it. Although I will give her a clue, and we are going to go ahead and investigate this movie. So we'll be right back. You guys know what the movie is. She doesn't. And we're gonna see what she thinks of this movie that she requested a long time ago. So we'll see you guys after the movie.
Bye. I did not request it.
Every person in this room has the perfect motive.
Stand back!
For murder.
What do you mean? Murder.
But only one of these suspects is the murderer. Is it the timid Mr. Green?
Why are you screaming? Because I'm right out what? Screaming!
Or the militant Colonel Mustard?
If I was the killer, I would kill you next. Huh? Said F.
Mrs. White, who helped her husband on his way.
Well, it's a matter of life after death. Now that he's dead, I have a life.
Miss Scarlet, who's helped many men along the way.
Practice makes perfect. Huh.
Professor Plum, who's looking for a way.
I'm looking.
Mrs. Peacock.
I have absolutely no idea what we're doing here, but I am determined to enjoy myself.
Or did the butler do it?
No.
Paramount Pictures invite you to an evening of mystery.
Let us in!
Murder.
This is getting quite serious.
And madness. In the movie that makes a scene of the crime. Clue. It's not just a game anymore.
Alright, Cora, so we just finished watching what movie?
Clue.
Now do you remember asking to watch this movie?
Yeah, I kind of believe you literally lose my memory to your advantage, because I'm pretty sure you requested a lot in the past. And by saying that I forgot, like, poop, I need to remember. I remember asking about Clue. I remember asking about this movie, blah, 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 blah. What did I forget? And you lose that advantage. I cannot believe you.
And why did you want to watch Clue so much?
I'm looking at the answer right now.
Well, show the audience.
Oh, I know. I can make it even cool. Yeah, we got 24.
You got the 24 version of Clue and the Nightmare Before Christmas version. In the Nightmare Before Christmas version you got for your birthday last year.
Yeah, surprisingly, this is oldest, but it was the second one I found. I found this one in my closet. I'm pretty sure it was my dad that had this one. I'm the one that got this one for my birthday.
They can't see it like that. So.
And before you ask, no, unfortunately, Jack Bauer is not in this one. Yeah. He's not lost. Unlike this Jack, he's not lost somewhere around the house. This one doesn't even come with a piece for it.
Yeah. So, anyways, why don't you go ahead and tell our audience what this movie is about?
So, like with any other movie, you get to see the characters. Also, like a Game of Clue. If you're new to a Game of Clue, you get to see the characters. I so must have to mention something because I already forgot the character's name in 10 freaking seconds. I said freaking, not the F word, you can't say anything.
Well, we start with Wadsworth showing up, right?
Yeah.
And then
all the characters get to a room that I forgot. Like I said, I have to mention.
I think Colonel Mustard's the first to arrive. Then Miss Peacock. Then Miss White. Then Mr. Green. Then Miss Scarlet and Professor Plum.
You won! It's Professor Plum!
And then, who else is... I think that's all of them, right?
Unless you count the...
Mr. Boddy finally shows up after dinner, or during dinner.
And unless you count the cook and the maid that's already there, then that should be it.
Yeah. So then they show up in what?
The mansion. In the dining room. They basically talk about themselves. And of course it's Clue. But I'm just going to give some spoilers.
Then they go to the study.
Yeah, they go to study hall.
And they find out what?
That they've all been blackmailed.
Yeah.
You've been blackmailed.
You don't even know what blackmail means, do you?
A man covered in black?
No. Blackmail is when somebody has information on you and they're like, hey, you pay me money or you give me something or I'm going to tell your secret to the world and get you into trouble. That's what blackmail is. So anyways, keep going.
Until lights goes out. We get our first murder in our fellow Game of Clue. Mr. Headsy, whatever his name
Boddy.
is. Yeah, Mr. Boddy. Like another Game of Clue if you want to be real life. Everybody starts freaking out.
Keep going. Get on with it.
Hey, Dad, I have to mention something. So then, basically,
they find out the cook is dead.
Yeah, they find out the cook is dead. Then
Mr. Boddy's gone.
Mr. Boddy's gone. The person said, I have to go to the bathroom. Another person asks why. Then that person just says, I need to do some pleasure, whatever it's called.
Powder my nose.
Yeah, powder my nose.
I love how you like go into so much detail on some things, but you completely skip over main events. Like about the poison, or the supposed poison.
Hey, the poison wasn't real poison, or else one of the killers would have died.
Anyway, keep going. So when she goes to the bathroom, what does she find?
Oh, hey! She found head seam.
Mr. Boddy.
Yeah.
So he's dead a second time?
Yeah.
And you should recognize some of these characters.
Yeah.
Or at least some of these actors, like Christopher Lloyd, you've seen in Back to the Future.
Yeah, and
Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, and literally the butler from
Addams Family. He was Uncle Fester.
Can I speak now?
The butler, you know as who?
Home Alone 2.
Anywhere else? Do you want a balloon?
No, 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 no.
Keep going, come on.
So then, if I remember correctly, there's a knock at the door.
I mean, at the doorbell rings. Okay, come on. And it's the motorist.
And basically, he just wants to call because his car broke or something.
Okay, I'm gonna take over this. So then the motorist arrives, and they all rush to the front door to get the door open, and they let the motorist in so he can make a phone call in the study. So then Wadsworth locks him in the study, and they all go back to the main room, right?
Yeah.
And then from there, they decide they're gonna go ahead and split up. And while they're split up, the motorist gets killed.
Dude, I saw you just replicating that entire, like, 2, 3, even 4 scenes of just Claude Forces explain basically the entire movie.
So anyways, though that's what I'm trying to get you to do. But you weren't doing it, and you're going too slow. So, to make a long story short,
Too late!
they get another ring at the door, and after finding the motorist dead, so they go to the front door, and it's a cop, and they let the cop in, and the cop wants to make a phone call, so he goes to make a phone call. Meanwhile, the rest of them, they decide they're going to set up the dead body so that they actually look like they're just having a party. So then they all rush around while Wadsworth locks the cop into the lounge, and the cop gets a phone call from J. Edgar Hoover, the head of the FBI. And then Wadsworth has to go back and explain that, you know, they're just having a party, and that he can be shown around while Wadsworth takes the phone call. Right?
Yeah.
So the cops, like, goes back into the study after checking things out. Meanwhile, the group decides to split up once again with the cop locked into the study. So, the power goes out, and then there are 3 more murders. The cop, Yvette, and a singing telegram girl at the front door. And then they all come back together to find the 3 dead bodies, and then they decide to start figuring out how it's done. At this point, Wadsworth quickly runs through the events of the entire movie, dragging them all around the house, showing them all the secret passages, and where all the weapons are.
I feel like basically you could just edit that in the entire scene or 2 or 4, like I said, of closers to explain the entire movie, but when that just gets copyrighted, $2 would be lazy.
So anyways, to make a long story short,
Too late.
They decide to start revealing who did it. And in this version, we actually get to see all 3 endings. But originally, when this movie came out in theaters, from what I've heard, movie theaters had one of the 3 endings. It was never actually declared, like you didn't know going into it which of the 3 endings you were actually going to see. So if you went in one town, you probably saw one ending. And then if you went to the movie theater across town, you might have saw a different ending. Right? Well, I guess you don't know. But yeah, that's supposedly what happened. So anyways, in the end, there are 3 multiple endings. And what's the first ending, Cora? Who did it?
Just a Crosswalks moment.
No, it was Miss Scarlet.
I said just do a Crosswalks moment.
What did you think of the Miss Scarlet ending? This is what I'm asking you.
It was okay. I mean, it was quite unexpected, but I know I wasn't expecting more than the 3rd actual ending.
And then who was the killer in the next ending?
I think it was like the old lady.
Lady? Mrs. Peacock?
Mrs. Peacock that one faked out over the poison. And 2 said that her favorite food was monkey brains, which might be the first one forever just to say.
Have you ever had monkey brains? How do you know it doesn't taste good?
Monkey brains sound like monkey brains just got in the deep fryer or cooked in the oven.
I don't think that's... they were eating a soup.
Or just stuffed inside a soup.
Just wait until you see what chilled monkey brains looks like.
Chilled monkey brains? That just sounds even worse.
That's what Indy had to eat in Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom. Chilled monkey brains. It's like brains with jello. Brain would be like a meat.
I do not care.
Why did you hold up 6 fingers for 3 words? You're a wacko. So anyways, it was Mrs. Peacock, and you know her from Pippi Longstocking. We both also agreed that she kind of looks like the female gremlin from Gremlins 2.
Yeah, of course, if she was...
Or the old lady. I think this is her. I think it's the same woman. I think she also was the slug lady from Monsters, Inc.
Yeah, if we just...
You've seen Monsters, Inc., right?
Yeah, I can let you do a perfect replication of her. I'm watching you, Michael Showski. I'm watching you.
Always watching.
Okay, you should say a better one than me. But why did it... Oh yeah, I forgot.
Anyways. But we still need to figure out the crime that happened in this house. Who ate all of Cora's pizza?
What?
And for that, I have to say that the hammer in the house is missing. So whoever has the hammer ate all of Cora's pizza, because I found hammer marks in her pizza box. So it was Cora. Cora ate all the pizza.
It's my pizza.
But we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. When we come back, we will give our final guesses on what the scores should be. See you all in a minute.
Bye.
For thousands of years, the world has been protected by the Guardian of Light, or as he is more commonly known, Santa Claus. Over the centuries, factors such as fear and prejudice, greed and jealousy, misunderstandings, betrayal and war have segregated most humans from the magical world of elves, fairies, wizards, and the like. This has resulted in many misconceptions and generalizations of the true nature of Santa and his world.
This 6-book series by Sean Connaughton begins as the current of a long series of guardians is murdered by a group of monstrous enemies recently escaped from an enchanted South Pole prison. These creatures are loyal to the darkness, an evil force determined to exterminate the light in order to enslave all creatures of the world.
Shane Connor, an average young man, suddenly finds himself being trained as the new guardian. As he adapts to his new life among fantastic creatures, he goes on an adventurous quest with a legendary wizard for the ultimate weapon to use against the darkness, and faces murderous enemies like Rasputin, Morgana Le Fay, Krampus, and many more.
Along with his best friend, Joe Gomez, Shane encounters politics, history, mysterious murders, new loves, his own hidden past, and racial dynamics among the fantasy races that turn out to be all too real. Their adventures reveal the true nature of the world and challenge the current state of how all races interact.
This series expertly melds myths, legends, history, faiths, folklore, and secret societies into a fascinating, cohesive, comprehensive world of wonder and magic.
From Atlantis to Olympus, from Hades to the moon, and from broomstick races to Christmas deadlines, join the new Santa Claus on his amazing journey. But beware, will Shane's quest achieve his ultimate goal of destroying the darkness and preserving the light of the world? Or is he actually playing right into a plot by dark forces that will result in his, and our, ultimate doom?
So make your list and check it twice for the Guardian of Light book series. Download your audiobook or ebook today from Audible, Amazon, or iTunes.
Alright, we are back. And, Cora, we're going to start with you. On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give the movie Clue?
0.
0? Why 0?
Reasons.
Reasons?
Yeah. Reasons.
What did you not like about this movie?
The free endings. They did super suspecting characters, and then at the end they just did off them like, bruh.
Well, moving on to my score, I think this movie is a 10 out of 10. I really like the comedy in this, and I think it's really fun and interesting, and it makes you want to rewatch it. But that's just what I think. What do you, the audience, think? Alright, starting with me. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would give the movie Clue probably a 1 out of 10. I mean, this movie, it's all over the place. One of my biggest negatives is that it really tries to force the rewatchability issue. Even if you do rewatch it, a lot of those endings don't make sense. I've tried to catch the supposed reasons, and every character's there. All 3 endings really do not work, but I mean, I wish there was actually some, like, oh, if I go back and rewatch this movie, there is actually clues to who the killer was. So there is no there's no concreteness in this. But we're going to go ahead and move on to Cora now. Cora, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give Clue?
It's a 10 out of 10. It was awesome. Like, it was all the endings. You got different plot holes. And like, oh, we're just gonna fight you with a different and like, oh my god. Is this the real one? And then they showed you what's the real one next. And like, what? It was crossbows all along? Is this even the real ending? Which three of these endings is the real ending? I'm gonna rewatch the movie.
Alright, Cora. We'll start with you. On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give the movie Clue?
10 out of 10.
Why? Did you have a favorite character?
Oh yeah, crossbows.
Wadsworth? Cogsworth is the clock from Beauty and the Beast. Okay, that's... Okay, what was your favorite scene?
I mean, would this count as 3 scenes or just 1 scene?
What was your favorite?
The end was like the 3 different plot holes.
It's not plot holes, it's 3 different endings. It's like alternate endings. Only in this movie they can show you what all 3 endings are. Did you have any negatives about the movie? Anything you didn't like?
Nah. Actually, no, there's one.
What?
In all the other Clue games, there's supposed to be like 1 kill. But in this one, like, all of them just basically kills. Each one has their own part of what happened in the story. One person could have the power and kill person and kill.
That's why they did multiple endings.
Yeah, but like,
To make it feel more like the game, so it could... Because when you play the game multiple times, eventually you've gone through everybody and every weapon in every room. So if you've played the game a lot, you've been in that situation. That was one thing they really didn't do. I do kind of hope that they will address in what I'm going to talk about as we move into my score now. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would actually give this movie probably an 8. It's not the greatest comedy. It is funny. It's enjoyable to watch from time to time. But it does need some improvements. Like, it is a little too cartoony. It is a little too much of the, like, oh, this person killed somebody. But if you go back and rewatch it, that person was there. So it loses some of like that rewatchability, especially if you like super pay attention and you know it's coming. Like I said, there are a couple running gags, like the dog poop on his shoe plays in for a while, and it's a little bit funny for that. But what I would really love to see is a remake, or a more accurate one, where you almost could have like many different versions of the same movie. But I would actually like to see one, like a remake of this, where we actually do get like a concrete answer, and there is only the one murder, and it is the group trying to figure out who the killer was, and by the end of it we actually get like the famous kind of ending that it was like, oh, it was Colonel Mustard in the dining room with the knife, something like that. I think that they could do a real good job redoing that, making it a little bit more serious, but still leaving in some comedy. But yeah, like I said, this is something I do enjoy from time to time, and that's basically that. So, we want to thank you all for watching, and we hope that, you know, you'll leave a comment on how did you feel about this movie? What did you like about this movie? Would you be okay if they did do a remake and kept it, made it a little bit more serious, like a little bit of a real murder mystery? Because at this point, it didn't really feel like a murder mystery, you know? It's just like...
Yeah, because the game is a kind of mystery. It's called Clue.
But it's a murder mystery game. So...
Yeah, but like I said, movies aren't accurate to the thing that they're based on.
Well, this one was fairly accurate. I mean, it wasn't perfectly accurate, but it was fairly accurate to the actual game. Which you don't have the original game, you only have spin-off copies.
Yeah.
So, I don't remember the original game giving your characters powers or abilities.
So I'm going to go ahead and get my own money to buy it off of eBay.
But, anyways, I was going to go ahead and wrap up this episode. When we come back next week, we will be diving into the museum movies. So, be ready for that, and we will see you all next week.
Bye, and sorry from breaking the fourth wall here, but I hope you enjoyed the little free parts that I had. Thanks, bye.